Hi, I'm Kate, Youth Coordinator for Friends of the Mississippi River. Today we're going to be talking about watersheds with our guest Astoria.
Hello.
So the first question we can ask is, what is a watershed? A watershed is an area of land where all of the water that flows over it or under it goes to the same place. This is hard to picture, but we can also think of a bathtub. So if we turn the shower on, all of that water is raining into the bathtub. It all flows down the sides and the bottom of the tub and goes to the same place, which is down the drain. The borders of our watershed are the edges of our bathtub, and it's the same out in the real world. Tops of hills, the tops of mountains, these are what makes the border of a watershed. Doesn't matter if it's in a different state or a different country, political boundaries are not part of a watershed. Watershed is defined by geographic. Another way to think about a watershed is to look at a model, which we have here. All right, so we've got our model here, and this is our watershed model. And a watershed, like I said, is an area where all of the water that's on the land or underneath it flows to the same spots. Okay, so whether it rains over here and runs this way, or rains over here and runs this way, it's all going into this one watershed. If it rains over here and runs off this way, it's in a different watershed. So do you want to pick up that spray bottle? Spray it all, well, not up here, but all over. Oh, nice. Yep, we can see that some water's collecting here, and then some is collecting over here. Looks like we have two watersheds. All right, so let's put our spray bottle down for a minute. If this was a pristine watershed, there wasn't any pollution, our water would be nice and clear as it ran through this system. But we've got a whole lot of pollution out there. Can you think of some different kinds of pollution that get in our water?
Trash.
Ooh, trash is a good one. So we have got some food coloring here that we're going to put on our model to represent pollution. So we are going to put these where we want them. You just pop the top off. Oh, it's starting to run down the hills. All right, so some of it stayed where we put it, but we could pretend it's a nice sunny day in our landscape. At one point, it's gonna rain, so go ahead, make it rain again, all over. Oh, wow. All right. So we can see that it has moved down the hills with the water. It's all mixed into the collection points in our watershed. It looks really polluted, doesn't it? Yeah, so that's why even if you live far away from the water, you're still in a watershed. You have to make sure not to put all of the pollution in your yard or on the roads, or make sure your car is well maintained, because eventually it will get into our water as it runs off the land and ends up in the collection point of our watersheds. So to wrap up, a watershed is defined by the high points of the land, which causes water to flow downhill into our streams and rivers. Anything that can get carried by the water, like oil, salt, trash, also flows down into those rivers, which is why a lot of our rivers have pollution problems. So you could be located really far away from a river, and some of those things might still get into the water. Oil can actually travel really far, as can fertilizers and pesticides. So whatever we do on our lands actually impacts our water.